Alright, so somebody recently asked on the forum, how do you set up parsers? This question was actually answered pretty admirably by Pale Rage, but I figure a picture's worth 1,000 words, and it'll only take us 30 seconds to make a permanent resource, so here we are. At any rate, setting up parsers is a pretty quick process. First, you'll want to go to the Options menu, go into Settings. First thing you'll need to do is set up a home for the parser. You're going to do that here in Chat Options. Now, one of your default tabs is Combat, so there's already a place where it's going to land anyway, but it's possible to make it a little more hospitable visually for the parser. Normally, when you start the game, the default settings include damage in and damage out, which means every single time you hit anything and any single time anything hits you, you're going to see that report. I like to go ahead and shut those two off. I also like to turn on a couple of things that might be semi-important, group, tell, league, things like that, just so people can still contact you and communicate with you while you're testing things. And then you go down here. These are the big three that really kind of play into what we're dealing with today. Damage summary, healing summary, power summary. Exactly what it sounds like on the box. The amount of damage that you're doing for the amount of time that your parser read is set up for. Likewise with healing, likewise with power. I like to shut the healing and the power off because this is my DPS. I don't give a shit how much healing I'm doing, and I don't really care if I'm putting out power or how much I'm getting back at that point in time. That's not the reason why I'm here. So after you have that set up, you're going to go ahead and hit save. The next step, this is the really easy step. You're going to go back over here to the gameplay tab of the settings screen, and we're going to click combat parser interval. Now there are a few different parser intervals. After combat is the default setting. You'll attack things, combat will occur. After combat ends, your character no longer has the flashing red icon up in the corner. That's when you'll get your parser read. 1 second, I think, is for masochists. If you want to know what's happening every 1 second while you're fighting, pick 1 second. 10 seconds is close to one rotation. It's a little short, but it's a good way to get a continuous read on what you're doing. I like using a 10-second parser if I'm trying to see what kind of character output I've got inside of actual content, because fights don't tend to last all that long in actual content, and it's a good way to get an idea as to what you're actually doing. 30 seconds is the agreed upon testing parser, simply from the standpoint that it's enough time for you to have a few rotations. You'll be able to do at least 2.5 rotations pretty much no matter what power set you're at. Every single one of the power moves, Inferno for example, heavy DOTs like that, Electrocute, also things like the reset timers on Invisible and Stealth all happen at 12 seconds, so you'll basically have 2.5 rotations worth of damage in to be able to see what's going on. And then 60-second parse is really only for people who are trying to test consistency. If you can get a 60-second parse off consistently, that means you're doing your rotation 5 times in a row every single time the same way. Bang, bang, boom. So pick whatever your preference is. We're going to go with 30 here just because that seems to be the subject of conversation that came up on the forum. After you have that, back out of the settings menu, go into your combat tab, boop, combat tab. After this, all you have to do is hit something. Keep opening on the fuse. Voila. And that's how the combat parser works. You can set it up for any configuration you like. but that's usually the easiest way to get direct results and see what's going on. If you want to compare notes to people, there you go. That's your single target output for 30 seconds. It's that simple.